Stephanie and Bridget and Gregory and Frank and Glenn and Peter.
Hi, I'm Frank. I teach instrumental music in Seaside.
What's up? How you doing? You're in your office today. Hardworking man. I appreciate that. And the incandescent bulbs over your right shoulder. That is straight up old school, baby. Ain't no LED there. We're going old school. I am going to disappear for 5 seconds and go get a bottle of water since I just ran from another event. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Good to see you, Frank. How's the weather out there?
Good to see you, Mitch. Not too bad. Cool, but not too bad.
One of my favorite things to do is pulling up into MLK, in that parking lot, and it just overlooks all of Monterey Bay. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a great place to have your house.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. My name is Mitch Garcia. I am the School Services Representative for Music and Arts in California Central Valley. I have a large territory that extends all the way up to Salinas and Monterey, and I do a lot of Bakersfield and just everything in the Central Valley. Anyways, so it falls on to me to gather together the content for CASMEC every year, pretty much. And alongside my partner in crime, Stephanie, we work really hard to put together a great experience for you all. And today, I cannot be prouder than what we have done to pull together a wonderful experience for the music educators of not just California, but this Western region. I know we have at least someone from Las Vegas. Anyway, so we have Scott Lang here to do question and answers. We have been very more intimately involved with Be Part of the Music as part of our advocacy strategy at Music and Arts. And in the future, you're going to see a lot more coming your way as far as right now is with recruitment and things like that. And Scott Lang is very powerful. I don't need to tell you on the strategies that he has for music educators to increase their experience within the four walls and outside in the community of their band room. It's wonderful. I want to go over a few things. We have a drawing, and we are putting that into the chat. So you'll see drawing link. You just have it, click on the link. You can go in, put your information, and we're giving away some prizes. We're giving away, at least I know, the USB mic and some chromatic tuners and stuff like that. So make sure you click that link and enter to win. Also, so this is kind of how we're going to run this. It's just straight up question and answers. You know, Scott is the expert when it comes to recruitment and leadership and music education. And so just type your question in the chat box. We will then do our best to make sure that we feed Scott with as much as that. He's going to be watching and be able to do that. I'm sure he probably has a few words he wants to share with you. And then afterwards, if you want to stick around here and talk with any one of our service representatives or anything, we have breakout sessions that we can do with them. and everything. So without further ado, and a man who does not need introduction, here is Scott Lang. Go ahead and put in your questions. And Scott, what do you have for us today?
Oh, thanks for having me out, Mitch. I appreciate it. So California, first of all, I want to tip my hat to every one of you that's out there today. What you're doing, the fact that you are committing to professional development in a pandemic is just ridiculously, ridiculously cool. You know, most people would raise the white flag and run away from the battle, and you made the decision to raise the pirate flag and run towards the battle. And that's what it's all about. It's about running back towards the fight. You know, one of the things we've been talking about is that when I talk to groups is that, you know, we teach kids from the moment they're knee high to a grasshopper is that when you see a fire, stop, drop, and roll, run, 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 run. You know, and the thing is that is a logical response to a crisis. That is the logical response to a dangerous situation. But what the people we remember, the people who turn around and run back into the fire, those are the people that we remember. The people that remember the ones who stop running in fear and start running towards a solution. The people who stop running for themselves and start running back for someone else. Those are the people that we remember. Those are the people that make a difference in people's life, and those are the people who will have an impact. And, you know, in the Chinese character for crisis, and that's what this is. And while we see the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel, the fact is we're still in the middle of a crisis. And that crisis, when written in Chinese characters, is two characters. One represents danger and the other represents the opportunity. And yes, this is a time of danger, but it's also a time of opportunity. It's a time to rethink what we do. It's a time to rethink how we do it. And I'm going to come back to this at the end of my comments, and maybe at the end of the webinar, I'm going to tell you my goal is at the end of the pandemic to say this was the greatest year of my life. That is my goal. And I'll tell you some things I've done and ways that I got there. But my point is there is danger, but there is also opportunity, and they are commensurate to each other. You can't have great opportunity with minimal concerns. You can't have great experiences with absolutely no risk. It doesn't work that way. Risk and reward are commensurate to each other. And so the greater the crisis, and this is a significant crisis, the greater the opportunities. The opportunity to make an impact, the opportunity to make a difference, the opportunity to have influence in other people's lives. You know, and so when we look at this, that's what we're talking about, is the fact that you ran towards the fire. Not just that you're teaching every day to a computer or to a hybrid learning or in distant learning or in a modified setting, or whether it's, you know, in some variation on that, but the fact that you then decided, I want to up my game by going to professional development conference. And then at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock your time, 5 o'clock my time, I'm going to jump on a call with an idiot, Scott Lang, and spend more time trying to get better. That says something not about this guy. That says something about you. I'm not sure it says anything good about you, but it definitely says something about you. You ran towards the fire. Now, California, speaking of fire, maybe too soon, California is where I cut my chops. I do more work in the state of California, and I do it in the mid part of the country, and mid part of the state, and I do it in the top part of the state, and I do it in the bottom. But California is really home to some of the finest music making and music education all over the country. And everyone knows there's really 4 or 5 states in this country who do music education, do it right. And California is right there. It's Texas and California, Ohio and Florida and Indiana. And everything after that is a distant, distant, distant drop. So not only are you doing this, not only are you doing it in a pandemic, not only are you doing it in a pandemic remotely, not only are you doing it at a conference in a pandemic remotely, but you're doing it in a conference pandemic remotely, and you're doing it with some of the finest music making the country has ever seen. And it doesn't matter whether you're band, choir, orchestra. It just matters that you're making music. So just out of curiosity, I'm going to turn on the gallery here, see everyone here. So if you are a choir director, wave your hand at me. Okay, nobody likes you. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Braden, Jennifer, sorry. And it's not our fault, it's your fault. So my very first year of teaching, I'll never forget this, my choir director, ridiculously gifted choir director. His name is Warren Dennis. We're doing a joint department trip, and the orchestra has got their semi, and we've got our semi, and we've got kitchen sinks and coffins and dead bodies. He walked into my office with a pitch pipe. He puts it in his pocket and he goes, all packed up, ready to go. And I literally almost punched him. I literally almost punched him. But and the thing is, I have a secret desire to be a choir director. And the thing is, because my secret goal in life, I'll share it with you right now. My secret goal in life is I want to sing harmony with the Zac Brown band. Shoot me after that. It's a long fall. I don't care. But that's not in my body. And it's so funny because people want to tell you, well, at choir directors, you're guilty of lying, by the way. It's like, I can teach anyone to sing. No, you can't. And I'm proof of it. Okay, this guy. So my first year in music theory, when I went to college, you take that music theory. I was supposed to have Ronald Lopresti as my theory teacher. Now, if you're a band guy, you know Ronald Lopresti because he wrote "Fan for Elegy for a Young American" for John Kennedy. He wrote a couple pieces. Very famous composer. He died the week before I got there. I think he saw me on the ropes and on his list and had a heart attack. Randall Shin was my theory teacher. Now, I was bad. I mean, I was real bad. So while you choir people are in the back, literally singing in Italian falsetto and ear training, if it weren't for Star Wars, I still today wouldn't know what a fifth is. I swear. And thank God for NBC. I don't know why we need a sixth. I really don't. It's a useless interval to me. It's just an inverted third. Can't we agree on that? And can someone, for the love of God, explain the French, Italian, German second to me? Like, is one cooking, one drinking, and one pissed off? I don't know. I don't. I'm going to get back to the topic here. Okay. Now, so Troy's thinking, why did we bring Scott on? I just don't understand. So I barely survive music theory. Go on to second semester, 18th century, 19th century, 20th century harmony. Third year, you do form and analysis. At the end of that, you have to do pre-professional skills test. And which means you have to prove that you're ready to go on and start the teaching block. Before you do that, you have to take a theory test and oral skills test. And I was sweating it. I'm not good. I hear okay. This does not replicate what it hears. It's really weird. It's like this vocal box has a different mind than these ears. So practice, I'm doing my harmony, my rhythmic dictation, practicing. And all I've ever wanted to do since I was in the second grade, my mom, I came over for dinner last night and said, that's true. Second grade, you said I'm gonna be a band director. I knew that, I just knew it. If I don't pass this test, I don't teach. I'm scared. So it was a Tuesday afternoon in December. I was getting ready for my jury and you go into a room and I open the door and I'm like, oh no, it's Randall Shin. He knows how bad I am. I'm a goner. So he goes, Mr. Lang, it's good to see you again. And I literally thought, I wish I could say the same thing. And he said, are you ready for your rhythmic dictation? And I said, yes. And he taps out a bunch of rhythms and he goes, did you get it? And I go, I'm fine. By the way, you dropped time in the second measure. We're good. It's time to move on because I'm a drummer and I got time. And he says, Mr. Lang, it's time for your figured bass. Are you ready? I'm like, maybe. He starts doing chord progressions. And I'm like, okay, parallel sevenths, resolve upward, no parallel fifth. 1, 2, 4, 5, 1, play okay. And I played again, and I think I might have gotten it. He goes, Mr. Lang, it's time for your sight singing. Are you ready? And I looked back at him and I go, are you? Right? So hands me a piece of music and he presses a key, whatever it was, B flat. And he says, this is your do. And I'm like, la 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 la. And at the end of it, it's like what seemed like forever. And he sighs and he closes the lid of the piano. And he says, I'll take that music back since clearly you weren't using it. And he sets it down. Now, tears are starting to well, it's true story. Tears are starting to well up in my eyes. And I'm like, oh, I'm never going to teach. What am I going to go? And he goes, would you like to hear the good news or the bad news? I'm like, just give me the bad news. Just give it to me. And he goes, that was the worst example of sight singing I've heard in my 30 years in this profession. Now I got Lake Michigan happening under my feet. I am in full sob mode. I'm talking Bills lose 4 Super Bowls in a row mode. Like I am gone. I go, what could be the good news? He goes, you have improved so much. That is a true story. That is a 100% true story. So I really want to be a choir teacher. I think it'd be so cool. And people want to say, well, band, choir, those music teachers, they're all the same. No, they're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not the same. So here's the thing. So band people, we measure ourselves by what we do. And by the way, The greater the task, the greater the self-esteem. I went outside and I marched for 14 hours without a break and it was 142 degrees outside. Yeah, that's what I did. Pride, right? And the choir's like, well, why in God's name would you go do that? Well, because I've got school spirit. I've got air conditioning, right? I've got pride. I got a roof over my head, right? Band people, we measure ourselves by the task. Let's go load the truck. Why? So we can unload it afterwards. We're not going anywhere. Orchestra people measure themselves. Wave at me if you're an orchestra teacher. Wave at me if you're an orchestra teacher. Okay, Glenn and Bridget, good. Okay, and Frank, good. You measure yourselves by how you think. This is an orchestra kid when they're happy. This is an orchestra kid when they're sad. This is an orchestra kid when they come out of the womb. I swear to God, it's the same thing. And then they will walk up to you after class and go, that was the best class ever. And you're like, I was going to put paddles on you and call clear. Like, I thought you were dead. Because orchestra kids are always thinking. It's a very cerebral activity for them. Well, that's not Mozart's best work. Oh, that was Brahms' early period. You know, and band kids are like, Louie, yeah, let's dance, right? There's just no thinking involved. Zero thinking. So band kids measure themselves by what they do. Orchestra kids measure themselves by how they think. And I will tell you, teaching an orchestra class is the hardest class to teach. It's not even close, people. Not even close. Choir people value themselves by how they feel. I'm just so happy we're singing together, making music, and tears are streaming down their eyes, right? Because I thought about this. It's because their body is their instrument. And words change music. Like I can listen to a Brahms Requiem, and it's great. Put a choir behind it. When they sing Amen, that changes the plagal cadence. You know, I can listen to James Taylor, and the tone of his voice is amazing. But when I hear the words, it changes his music. So we're all very different, and the key is finding a way to work together, balance, blend, and harmony. So I've got lots of stuff I can talk about, but I want to share this last thing with you, and then I'll talk more. So how do you adapt when you are more like one group but teach multiple? Oh, that's easy. You got to be bipolar. Good, solve that problem. Now, you know what the thing is? The kids will adopt to you. I have, like, Michael Boyds is one of my favorite people on the planet. Like, we call each other brother from another mother. We have the same actual birthday. We call each other every birthday. I love Michael Boyds. He's at Saratoga High School. He was a band director who teaches orchestra. He teaches orchestra like he teaches band. That they respond to humor the way a band does. They respond to tasks the way a band does. They adopt to him. So my answer to you, Jennifer, and then I'm going to go back to my story, is be who you are. They will migrate to you. The only wrong way to teach is the way that's not your way of teaching. And we'll talk about that maybe at the end a little bit. But so, we're talking about this balance, blend, and harmony. Balance, blend, and harmony is the holy trinity of music education. You will spend your entire career chasing balance, blend, and harmony. There are professional symphonies that will spend their entire career and still never achieve perfect balance, blend, and harmony. I mean, because you can't have harmony, true harmony, without balance. You can't have balance without blend. And so when you think about that, balance, blend, and harmony, we will strive for it concert after concert, show after show, song after song, class after class, year after year. Now, I don't know who thought it was a good idea to take an instrument in the key of E flat and put it with an instrument in the key of C, but that's ridiculous. I don't know who, and so we had to balance and blend it. I don't know who said, let's put a piccolo with a tuba and see if we can blend that sucker together. Hey, I don't know who said, what we should do is take an all-state violinist and put him with a beginning bassist and let's see if we can get that to blend and balance together. I don't know who decided to put a woodwind with a brass and say, make it happen. A boy with a girl, make it happen. High pitch, low pitch, make it happen. Indoor, outdoor, make it happen. Voice and instrument, make it. Balance, blend. It's almost mathematically impossible. It really is. You are chasing the impossible every single day. Balance, blend, and harmony. But it's the most important thing you do. It's the most important thing you do. Now keep in mind, blending requires differences. Okay? If you put salt with salt, that is not blending. You have to put salt with sugar and make it work. You have to put high with low, wood with brass, talented, not talented, and you make it work. Balance, blend, and harmony requires kids to listen. Balance, blend, and harmony requires kids to respond. Balance, blend, and harmony requires kids to be flexible. So hear me well when I say this. Balance, blend, and harmony is the most important thing you teach, but it has nothing to do with music. Listening, respond, flexible. I don't think anybody on this chat room right now would say this is a unified country. I've never seen this country so divided, so unbalanced, so unblended, and so unharmonious. For the love of God, they stormed the Capitol and threatened the life of our sitting vice president. And they thought that was the right thing to do. Politics aside, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, storming each other, not a common enemy, not an adversary, not a foe, but a friend. Balance, blend, and harmony. That's what our country needs right now. And that's what you teach. You teach kids that in order to have blend, we have to have diverse opinions, rich and poor, old and young, minority and not, national and not, liberal and conservative. And we have to find a way to blend it. We need to be different in order to blend. And only if we blend can we have a balanced decision-making process, a balanced country, and have harmony among our people. Never, ever, ever has music been more important. And I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm sorry if you're wrong. I will stand here in my rightness and allow you time to process. But music matters now more than ever. And I will do whatever it takes to make sure every child has access to music. Guitar, great, super. Orchestra, fan-freaking-tastic. Singing, I'm on it. Band, wonderful. Ukulele, don't care. Get in the game. Oboe, not so much. And saxophone, can we just say that was a mistake? Can we just have a do-over on the sax? Do you know the saxophone was, you know why the saxophone was created? And then I promise I will shut up and answer questions. It was created because the Norwegian military bands had their budgets cut and they needed a woodwind instrument that would be 5 times louder so they could hire just 2 people versus 10 clarinets. The saxophone was created to be obnoxious and they succeeded. Can't we just call it good? Can't we just say, job well done? Now go home. You matter because you ran towards the fire and you taught kids balance, blend, and harmony. You take an 18-year-old, you put him with a 13-year-old, you make it work. You take the choir, you put it with the band, you make it work. You take the talented and the non-talented, you make it work. You are the best part of education, you. So I got lots of other stuff to share, but why don't we open up the chat box a little bit? You can turn on your mic, I don't care. You can write it in the chat box. I think it's more fun if I hear from you and hear your voice. So go ahead, shoot away. It doesn't have to be about music. It can be about my incredibly good looks. No, it's probably not gonna be about that. Or my choice in football teams. Anyone? Apparently Glenn has disappeared and is now just a series of tablas? What? I don't know what those are. All right, Gregory, lay it on me, Gregory.
Hey, Scott, it's good to see you again, buddy. So, you know, one of the things that I'm really, as I'm thinking about my recruiting plan and the things that like kids are coming to me with answers with, plus married with the fact that you like the direction that, like you were saying, you as a teacher and the type of program that you want to have. So one of the biggest things I'm struggling with is the tolerance to do other things and like where you think is the best place to draw the line. I know it's like different from everybody, but one of the things I face in California is the fact that we have 55 sports teams on campus. And sometimes they make them practice 5 days a week, 6 days a week. So, you know, some of my old go-tos of, well, you know, we could make it work with schedules, you know, like, okay, you can be captain of the swimming and diving team and make concert band work or make marching band work with your schedules. It's getting more and more and more difficult as kids want to dip and try to do a lot of different things and still stay involved in music. So the last thing I want to do is lose a kid, because you're losing your balance, blend, and harmony, and you're losing your influence and impact that you can make on their lives. But at the same point, you don't want to compromise your standard. You don't want to compromise accountability, because when kids see that, then they drop. Then, you know, they drop their standard, and they're like, oh, I want to be part of something really cool and really special.
So, Gregory, first of all, I just love your attitude. A couple things, and I think Braden is in an earthquake. He keeps leaning up against a wall. Or he's been drinking. I'm not really sure. But so, Gregory, here's the thing. There's a couple things. Number one, there's a place for everyone inside a place for everyone. That kid you're describing probably can't be a drum major or a section leader, but can they be in a concert band, or can they be in a chamber ensemble? So my first answer is, there are different, for most programs, there's different levels of commitment depending on your roles, responsibility, ensemble. So that would be the first thing I'd say. The second thing I would say is, I do believe in boundaries. Like, I am the first guy who said, look, I will do everything. I'll move heaven and earth to get you to be a part of the marching band, but rehearsals are X, Y, and Z. And if you can't make them, then that ensemble isn't for you. We will find a place for you, but that ensemble isn't that place. And so whatever you decide those boundaries are, I'm not telling you what they are. For you, it may be, I've gone as far as like, okay, you can miss half. We have 3 rehearsals a week. You can miss half of one every week or whatever. Hey, you can miss Monday this week too. I'm for flexibility. It depends on the kid, the ensemble, and the circumstances. You know, a kid who comes to me and says, Coach, you know, hey, we made playoffs and I just got pulled up to varsity. I'm going to give that kid a chance to play varsity. I will give, you need that. That's so cool. The kid is a freshman saying, I can't make 60% of rehearsals, then you can't, this isn't the activity for you. It just isn't. You're not ready for that. So number one, there's a place for everyone inside a place for everyone. Scale their commitment level to the ensemble or a situation that's appropriate, even if it's, hey, you can be in the after school jazz band once a week playing tambourine. That's it. That's all I can do for you at this point. And then the second thing is, have boundaries, and that's okay. That's okay, because it's not fair to the other kids who are making that commitment. So did that answer your question, Gregory?
Yeah, I think so. It's a tougher balance in a smaller program than it is a larger program.
And it's tougher in smaller schools than it, I meant to say that. Mm-hmm. Like if you are in a school of 300 in the middle of, you know, on the Oregon border, then you just gotta deal with the hand you've been dealt. You know, if you're at Arcadia High School and your marching band's 412, then you're better. And that's the thing. Nobody should tell you how to teach. You know, I spent my first year teaching in East LA. I was there during the Rodney King riots. I taught right next to Garfield High School. And, you know, that style of teaching was different than it would be in a band that's going to Midwest. And that's not right. That's not wrong. And it's not less important. It's more important, by the way. So it's a call you make, but I do want to give you permission to say there are boundaries. There just are. And I will find a place for you. You can come once a week and play tambourine in the jazz band. It's, well, I don't want to play tambourine. Well, if you want a more significant role, you have to make a more significant commitment. And then it's a choice they have to make. You just can't be the jack of all trades. You know, you got to have boundaries. So some educators I work with are worried about losing students that started this year and had a bad experience due to the limitations of distance learning. Let alone trying to bring new students. So if you've not visited, I put the URL up there. bpotm.org start. If you have not visited that, you need to visit that. So I'm going to share something really quick with you. A really excellent presenter who does this for a living would have had this already pulled up, and I don't. So I'm going to share this with you really quick. So this, I'm going to share, there's, okay, so we built, bpotm.org.start, we built a recruitment roadmap for you. And it's an impact report, all your social media that you would need to run a campaign, pre-written emails for all levels, for all genres, 3 of them. We put all our videos in one place. You can choose the videos you want. Documents, enrollment tracker that actually tracks your enrollment in real time, and a dashboard where you can monitor it all and assign kids all of the tasks. So one, I'm not going to do it. This is a whole hour in service on this. BPOTM.org, the 2021 recruitment roadmap. We built a marketing machine for you. But your question was, how do I get more kids? Number one, you use kids to recruit kids. I would assemble a recruitment team and I would take them into that portal and I would build a marketing machine. So number one, in terms of kids to kids, when dealing with kids who didn't have a great experience, then I would, honest to goodness, I would be relentless and dogmatic about, you know what? I didn't either. It sucked. You think I signed up to teach in a computer? But we went through that for a reason. It's like running a marathon and stopping a mile before the finish line. We went through the pain, but where's the gain? And the thing I always try and share with people is don't do music for me, do music for you. I've yet to find a problem that music doesn't make better. I've yet to find a life that wasn't made better. And when I talk to my own kids want to quit. I got a piano right downstairs. They have to play every day. My own kids, Dad, I'm going to quit piano. No, you're not. Yeah, you are. No, I am. No, you're not. I'm not going to play. My answer's always the same. I'm the parent. You're not quitting. And what I always try and share with parents, and I have a video on my website about it, is I say, my kids don't want to eat vegetables, but I make them do that. My kids don't want to go to bed on time, but I make them do that. My kids don't want to study, but I make my kids do stuff all the time they don't want to do. You know why I make them do it? Because I love them. And I want to do what's best for them. And music is what's best for them. So to answer your question, number one, build a marketing campaign. It's all there, bpotm.org. Go after every kid the way Target goes after every customer. Build a marketing campaign, parent, student, and administrator, it's all there. Step 2, go after every kid. Step 3, use kids to get kids. And step 4, be unapologetic about your messaging. I want you back because I care about you. And music is what's best. Music is what's best. You've gone through the pain, now let's celebrate the gain. So I hope that helped. In this world of virtual teaching and learning, I feel less successful getting kids to understand the power of connectivity. There are many times I teach in silence and my district says no cameras on. Any suggestions? Well, there's a couple things. Find a way for them to interact with microphones, with clapping, online polling, by the way. You can set, please be on this website. And I'm going to ask you a question. Everybody respond. Click on and snap twice. There's all sorts of interactivity games that you can add to, and all sorts of interactivity software. There's Flip Deck. There's all sorts of stuff that's instant response. But that's not really, you're creative, you're smart, you're all brighter than me, you're all younger than me, except for Spraden, who leans against walls. He's a special one, so we're just gonna leave him alone. He's alone with his best friends, filing cabinets, but we're just gonna let that go because we don't, this is a safe space, people. We don't judge.
It's like scary, but true.
Braden, what do you teach? Band, choir, orchestra?
I teach band and choir at a middle school.
What's your instrument? Well, middle school, we're already thinking you're not that bright. What's your instrument?
Voice and trumpet.
Trumpet, so you're not that bright. Good. So now, here's the thing I do want to talk about is I don't feel successful. Well, of course you don't. That's like saying I've got a cold. I don't feel good. Well, if you did feel good, you wouldn't have a cold. If you are in a pandemic and gleeful, then you're either taking advantage of the legal cannabis law of California, or you're not all right in the head. So here's the thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're not burnt out, if you're not crispy, if you're not frustrated, if you're not irritated, and by the way, I was grumpy today. I even told my wife I'm just grumpy today. If you're not all of those things, you're teaching incorrectly. You're wrong. Someone said to me, I was doing an answer, I said, oh, Scott, I'm just so burned out. And I said, awesome. They're like, why? I said, because that means you're on fire, baby. You can't be burned out unless you've been on fire. And if you're not on fire, I don't want you in front of my kid. Because if you're a boring math teacher, you know what happens next year? My kid still takes math. If you're a really bad English teacher, you know what happens next year? My kid still takes English. If you're a bad music teacher, it's over forever. It's over forever. I want you to be burnt out because that means you did it right. That means you were on fire. And that's the type of person I want in front of my kid. That's the type of person I want in front of every kid. Now you need to find time, you need to recharge, you need to get away, you need to get a break. But the point is, I want you to embrace your burnout. I don't want you to, and you know, we personalize it so much, this activity. I can distinctly remember 2 times I thought, I don't know I can do this much more. I'm fried. And I was like ashamed and embarrassed. And now I look back and go, that's a badge of honor. I burned out because, frankly, there's only 22 people in this room. I can say it because I kicked ass. I just busted my hump this year. I should be standing on top of the mountain going, I'm more burned out than you, baby. Booyah. Read the name on this jersey. What team you playing for? Team Lang. Acknowledge it, accept it, and embrace it because it means you're doing it right. If you look at me and say, God, I'm so fulfilled and teaching online is really a dream I've always dreamed of and never had the opportunity. I think I might never want to go back. I'm going to tell you, I think you ought to go into accounting. That's what I think. I don't think you ought to be standing in front of kids. That's for damn sure. Unless you're teaching, wait for it, accounting. Do my taxes, but don't do my child's music. Don't do that. So when you say, I'm not feeling good, you're not supposed to. This is professional equivalent of COVID. It's supposed to kick your butt. And then we get on the other side of it. And you're going to be stronger for it. You're going to be better for it. You're going to be remembered. So it's going to go into a whole nother segment. It's already 5:37. What else? What other questions? Anyone? Throw them in the chat box. Turn on your mic.
Hey, Scott. Thanks for being on. I've been in the conversation, of course, about the future, as we all have. You know, I don't know that I'm going to be allowed, I'm hopeful to have a summer training camp this summer for marching band. I'm hopeful. So, but in the event that that doesn't happen, where might that leave our programs or my program?
So it's, first of all, Michael Turner, I appreciate it. Here's the deal. That is not an option. I was doing it sounds like so self-serving. I was doing the Colorado Music Educators event, and someone said to me, oh my God, my program, we're not allowed to play music inside. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Hey, Barry from Cherry Creek, you're 5 miles away, aren't you? And he turns on his camera. He goes, yeah. I go, you're playing? He goes, yeah, we're doing full concert band. We're 6 feet apart, but we're doing it. And I turn to the other guy and go, he loves his children more than you do. And by the way, I would go to your administration and say, they're a smarter school district than we are. They figured it out. Do you think the kids in Texas are more resilient to coronavirus than the kids in California? The answer is medically.
No, I totally hear you and I totally agree with you. I just happen to work for a district that we don't know whether we're coming or going.
So Michael, here's the thing. And I'm not kidding when I say this. If my administration said, you can't do this, and I turned around and I said, here is medical verifiable fact that this is doable and healthy and safe. And here are 15 schools within 30 miles that have achieved this. Mm-hmm. And medically, and it's safe. And you still say no, I'm going to have my boosters take out a billboard in front of the school that says, go to Cherry Creek. They love their kids more. And I'm not kidding. Mm-hmm. Here's the deal, that now in a time when enrollment is, both my children's schools are down 30% in enrollment because of COVID. By the way, students are the currents of the educational process. And here's what I would tell my administrator. I would say it's real simple. When the market's down, which it is, it's now time to invest. Who are you going to invest in? If you don't invest in music, you're investing in more drugs. If you don't invest in music, you're investing in lower GPAs. If you don't invest, and if you're not going to invest in music, I'm going to send my kids to a school that does. I will personally write an email to every child encouraging them to unenroll and go to the neighboring high school, because we're not doing what's best for kids and we're not doing what's right. And I'm not interested in what you think is safe. I'm interested in what we think is valuable, and then I will make it safe.
Yes.
And I frankly, I'm telling you, Michael, if that doesn't resonate with them, I would just tell them, I'm going to encourage my kids to go elsewhere. I want them to have this experience. If we think about it this way, if we all of a sudden said, no math, kids would leave because parents believe math matters. No English anymore. We just can't figure out how to teach those vowels and consonants safely. Oh my God, the consonants just kill us. We can't do it. And every other school's figured it out. I think music is every bit as valuable as math. And I think music is every bit as valuable as English. And if you can't figure it out and you're not willing to invest in that, then I'm going to go find a place and I'm going to send my kids to a place where they were able to figure that out. And you're going to be down another 100 kids. And by the way, they're the best kids in school. They're your summa cum laude. They're your magna cum laude. They're the kids who go to college. They're the kids who don't create problems. And if you're not willing to invest in them, I've yet to find a better investment than a music program. Both musically, dollars and cents, ROI, and academically. There's no better place to make an investment. So if you can't invest in this experience, I don't know what we're doing here.
Well, thank you. And I also, just right quick, Gregory, I understand where you're coming from, because I was actually one of those, beginning teachers that said, no, it's band and band only, no sports. We need just as much commitment. But then over the years, I've learned to be flexible, because I feel like if I'm not flexible, I won't have kids in my program, because I have a very small program. So I take the good with the bad, the bitter with the sweet, and I make it work. I talk to their coaches, and as I'm sure you've done too, and I just try and make it work. And so far it's worked out.
Yeah, it's similar, for sure. It's hard. I've been able to maintain a status, within the school and a certain level of numbers. And I want to grow because I want to have greater impact, not because for whatever reason, for numbers wise. But yeah, I would just say, that's, it's a tough balance. And it's one where I'm right in the middle where, Scott is saying and where you're saying is, I'm tolerant and I work it out with coaches and schedules, and I want something more and I want to up the commitment, but I don't want to up and disrupt the balance. So I'm trying my best to, temper that expectation. And
sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a balance. Every school, every program, every teacher's got to find their own balance, but
that's right.
It's a tough one for me to navigate, because I don't feel like we're growing at the rate I would want to see it grow, and to have that impact on my middle schools. There are a lot of kids in the middle school that aren't feeding in, that do other things. And really it's because all the other programs at my school are exceptional. And it's not that we're not, it's just that all of them are really wonderful. And so sometimes at a school, when there's a disproportionate balance, like the band program's awesome and other stuff isn't, it's easier to recruit at times.
Yeah, that's great. And I've been at my site now for 7 years, and I had big dreams, big visions, big goals of growing the program. And to be honest, I haven't gone over 35 musicians since I've been there. And there are many other factors for that. But also I do teach quality and not quantity too. So. That's it.
No, totally agree. And then that's awesome that you're, just steadfast and committed, and, thanks for doing that. And it makes me feel good just to know that, I'm not the only one, for sure. And that's why we got to get on these calls and just encourage each other.
Yes. None of us are alone. That's for certain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What other questions can I answer? Anything else? I got lots of stuff. Going once?
We have one question from Susan Harris. She does have a mic. So she said that in this world of virtual teaching and learning, I do not feel successful in getting kids to understand the power of connectivity. There are many times I teach to silence as my district says no cameras on. Any suggestions?
So that's one where I said earlier that there are lots of different solutions to that problem. You can do Flipgrid, you can do a smart chart, you can do online polling that's interactive, you can do SurveyMonkey. But that's why I went to go back to the comment about you're supposed to not feel good. Like it's okay to feel bad. It is okay. It's not fun. So I'm going to share this last thing with you guys, and it'll take me about 3-4 minutes if that's okay, Mitch. It's going to take me 5. So, and if anybody, you've all been, to hear me speak, when I say 5, it really means longer, but we're just going to pretend I'm going to be honest. So there are 5 things I told you I want to make this year the greatest year I've ever had. And it stemmed when it all hit. And by the way, I was in California when COVID hit, and we were at Disneyland. It was our spring break, and took our kids, and we were in Disneyland when they announced they were going to close it. And I said to my wife, get in the car, let's go, we're out. Because they were talking about closing borders at that point. We would have been stuck in California, which is a great place to be stuck, for months. So we came home, and a friend of mine called me, and he said, have you ever heard of a guy named Bob Goff? And I said, no. He said, you remind me of him. You should check him out. So start doing some homework. And he really turned me on to some things, but I'm going to get to him in a second. I have 5 things I want to share with you, 5 things to leave you with that have guided me through the pandemic. I'm not preaching to you. I'm not trying to sell you on what Scott believes. Number 1, every day you got to say to yourself, I'm not a victim. Yeah, this sucks, but I'm not on a ventilator and I'm not dead. Those are victims. If you're on a ventilator or you lost a loved one, you are a victim of COVID. And if none of those 2 apply, then you are not a victim. And it does 2 things when you embrace the victimness of it. And number 1, it trivializes those who've truly lost. And number 2, you give up your power of agency. That I can change this. And every day you wake up and you have buckets in front of you and they're heavy. You have a bucket of burden and you have a bucket of blessing. And you've got to remind yourself to choose the bucket of blessing. I'm alive. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I've got a job and I got kids I can impact. So number 1, you're not a victim unless you're on a ventilator or you've lost a loved one. Number 2, COVID can't take anything you don't give it. COVID can't take my joy. I'm not going to give it to it. Not going to take my happiness. Not going to happen. COVID isn't going to take my Friday nights. I'll figure out some other way to do something on Friday night. Maybe it won't be a halftime show, but it's not taking, because Friday night's coming. It's going to be there. So I might as well fill it with something. COVID can't take my memories. Can't take my students' memories. COVID can't take anything you don't. Well, my senior year sucks. Well, you chose for it to. Well, there goes my concert. Well, you chose for that. Do a virtual concert. Do a small chamber ensemble. Do it in a stadium spread 10 yards apart. The point is there are solutions. Don't give anything away because COVID can't take it. So if you don't give it, you keep it. Number 1, you are not a victim. Number 2, COVID can't take anything that you don't give it. Number 3, what's your North Star? Guide by your true. So there's something called, there's True North, which is the North Pole where Santa lives and is working very diligently right now. He doesn't take days off. Santa is at the North Pole. Magnetic North, your compass, is not true north. They figured it out in the 1600s, 1647. And what they figured out was the magnetic north for this planet is and it moves, by the way. Right now, it's about 160 miles away from the North Pole. So, this is true north. This is magnetic north. The difference between the 2 is called magnetic declination. So the thing is, if I'm using my compass to navigate across the street, I'm going to be off by about 1/10 of a centimeter. If I use a compass to navigate to a destination and it's Los Angeles, I'm probably going to miss LA and hit Hollywood. If I navigate from here to Hawaii using a compass, I'm going to miss the Hawaiian Islands completely and end up in Japan. Because with greater time and greater distance, the gap grows between magnetic north and true north. The same is said for your profession. Magnetic north is why we teach. This is why I teach. I'm putting it in the chat box. It's been my mantra since I started teaching 30 years ago. I want to make a kid better for having been in my presence than he would have been in my absence. Better at what? I don't care. You're more manners? Great, super. You're more punctual? Fantastic. A better musician? Better yet. Kinder? On work ethic? I don't care. I want to have impact in your life, but I don't get to choose the impact that I have. That is my true north. And COVID hasn't changed that. It changed how, but not my why. The magnetic north of our profession are concerts, shiny objects, uniforms, trophies. And most of the time they're one and the same. I can do my true north with my magnetic north, and so can the kids, but with greater time and greater distance of COVID, they're further apart. Stay focused on true north. Why do you teach? Put it in the chat box if you would. I want to know why you teach. Because, and by the way, there's no wrong answer. It's your answer. But the reason that's important is because that is your true north. I'm not bluffing. Start typing. Embrace that you have a professional compass and you stay guided, laser focused on true north. And the thing is, true north isn't impacted by COVID for most people. True north isn't impacted by, it impacts what I do, not why I do it. So number one, Patty's done it. I'm waiting for, it looks like Glenn's typing. Looks like Bridget's working. I want you to write why you teach. What is your musical mission statement? I'm not bluffing, I'm waiting. To have a positive impact on students who come into my classroom, making connections with students that last, to create better citizens. None of that is impacted by COVID. Keep typing. So number one, you're not a victim. Number two, don't give COVID anything more than it's already taken. Number three, operate guided by true north. Now, magnetic north, shiny objects, true north. Everything that's popping up in the chat box is your true north. Number four, small corrections make for big impact. Don't make wholesale changes. Make little changes that over a long period of time make big differences. A 2-degree turn over 3,000 miles is a massive adjustment. Give it time and space, but stay the course and be consistent. Number one, you're not a victim. Number two, COVID can't take what you don't give it. Number three, operate by your true north. Number four, make small corrections to see big results. And then number five, and this is the biggie. So in his book, Bob Goff, which is why I brought him up, talks about always be talking to your next best self. Version 1, 0 to 10 years old. Version 2, 10 to 20. Version 3, 20 to 30, that you're always getting better. And his thing is, how do you get to be version, I'm 52. How do I get to be version 6.0 if I don't know where he is? Now, I love Bob Goff, but I take it a little bit differently. And the moment this happened, I said to myself, here's my guiding principle for COVID. I want, and it's a little bit ethereal, pardon me. I have this vision in my head that 62-year-old Scott's watching me every day. And when I get to 62, he's going to be there and he's going to bear hug me. And he's going to say, you did it. You were the best parent you could be. You were the best teacher you could be. You were the best provider you could be. You were the best professional you could be. And I will tell you, hands down, maybe my work is crud, but I will tell you the best work I've done in my life has been in the last 8 months. Hands down, it's not even close. The volume of work and the quality I've worked is better than anything I've ever done. And I know 62-year-old Scott's waiting for me. And if I can make my own worst critic proud, Imagine what I'm doing for my children and my wife and my community. What is the next version of you thinking right now? That you're here at 5 o'clock trying to get better, here on a computer for the 9th hour today, here choosing to be happy at work instead of happy at the happy hour. Like, there is you, and they're waiting for you. And they're so proud of you. So proud of you. And if you can make that person proud, then by God, you've done something. Make this the best year of your life. For you. For you. Thank you for sharing all those mission statements. They're just beautiful. Thank you for what you do each and every day. Thank you for all that you do for kids. And just remember, your worst day teaching music, and I'm sure you've had it this year, is better than someone's best day in a cubicle somewhere. Your worst day teaching music is better than someone else's best day in a cubicle. With that, I'm going to throw it back to you, Mitch. And I just thank you for sharing your night with me. You've made my day better. You've made me better. And I admire each and every one of you, even Braden. Even Braden. You guys are the best. Good luck. God bless. And with that, I turn it back over to Mitch and Troy.
Thank you so much, Scott. We recorded this session as soon as, you guys go ahead and applaud. We recorded this session. We will have it as soon as Zoom provides me the link for it. I'm going to put it down in the chat so that you can have it. If you don't grab it, we're going to make it at least available for all of our school service representatives to disseminate at their discretion. Again, we thank you, Scott, for coming out and sharing with us some wonderful words of encouragement in such a unprecedented time. And you know, as an ed rep myself, and I could probably speak for the rest of us, we share in this. We hear the stories every single day, phone calls with music educators, and conversations, and in emails, and I'm so proud and happy to at least have this opportunity to have Scott join us so that we can all share together in this unprecedented time. And also, lastly, don't forget, put the drawing link in the chat. Make sure you click on that and enter to win prizes. Stick around. We'll be around for another hour or so. We have a lot of things that we could talk about with you guys. We're glad to meet you and speak with you one-on-one. Thanks again, Scott. Thanks again to everybody. Y'all stay safe.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.